Now, before we get into all this, we've also got more breaking news for you right now. The Trump Organization telling Fox Business just less than an hour ago, quote, "We are in the process of vetting various structures with the goal of immediate transfer of management of the Trump Organization and its portfolio of businesses to Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric Trump, along with a team of highly skilled executives. This is a top priority at the organization, and the structure that is ultimately selected will comply with all applicable rules and regulations." A lot of developments to discuss tonight, so let's bring them in. Former Senator Scott Brown and former Congressman David McIntosh. Senator Brown, Scott Brown, first of all, congratulations. You were one of the very first key members of the Trump team. You saw something it took a lot of other people to eventually see. Now let's talk about this transition team. All this news broke late after 3 o'clock. We had a very sleepy stock market that once again saw Donald Trump making all the right moves and taking off.
Yeah, of course, Charles. This is nothing new. He said it during the election. He said he was looking forward to transferring everything to his kids. And I know his kids. You probably know his kids, too. They're very accomplished, and they'll certainly have business executives and others there with experience to guide them if appropriate. No different than what Michael Bloomberg did, and I thought what he did was appropriate as well. And now he's back running his organization. So it's a good move. It sends a right message, and that coupled with, obviously, the new addition of Governor Pence and everybody you recently mentioned, it all makes sense to me. It's something that I'm aware of. It's not a surprise, and I'm glad it's helping, you know, with the market and kind of calm everybody's fears. Well, almost everybody except all the protesters.
Well, we got a few. It's early, right? It's only 72 hours. But, you know, David, here's the thing. I'm calling it art of the deal because on Obamacare, I think Donald Trump wants to hit the ground running. The first 100 days, he's made some serious promises. Now you get your ducks in a row. He's already dangling something out there for Democrats, something they hold dear and near and dear to their hearts. So maybe this helps them get through quick tax reform, maybe a quick infrastructure plan. Do you like this?
So, Charles, I think what he's got to focus on is the pro-growth elements of that, and that's the tax reform. The infrastructure one, if he's not careful, Washington will run away with that, and all the money will go to pork projects and not actually be spent on infrastructure. And on Obamacare, I think it is the art of the deal, but he's got to replace it. He's got to repeal and replace, but put in the Trump version that takes care of people who have needs, along with the free market principles that he ran on in the campaign, voucherizing the health care spend so that individuals can have choice about how they do it and their doctor.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Charles?
Yes, Scott.
Yeah, Charles, listen, this is nothing new once again. There are plenty of plans in the House and the Senate to actually repeal and replace it. And a lot of those things that people care about, the pre-existing conditions, the catastrophic care and coverages, covering your kids to 26, you can incorporate. That is replacing, even though, you know, they're still part of a previous plan. And then, obviously, cross-border competition, allowing, you know, people to bid, not mandating this one-size-fits-all approach. So that's what you're going to see.
I don't want to get too hung up on it because I think, for me, the way I'm looking at this and what I think the market responded to is that he's putting out a form of compromise, if you will, after meeting with President Obama and saying, hey, you know what, this is something I think we should do, and showing not only a different side, perhaps, of Donald Trump, not portrayed in the media, but also setting up the stage so that when he goes and he asks the Democrats in Congress to work with him, he's already made an offer.
Of course, and don't forget, Charles.
Good.
Sorry. Don't forget, Charles. Yeah. Harry Reid changed the rules. 51 votes are needed on a whole host of things, and if I'm not mistaken, that's on tax reform and a whole host of other things. And we have 51 people, so it's up to Chuck Schumer to figure out whether he wants to be part of the solution or part of the problem.
David.
And what Trump can do, again, is turn to his Vice President Mike Pence. He started to voucherize some of the Medicaid program in Indiana, and he can take that idea and just run with it in this new version of Obamacare. Let's put the free market, pro-growth ideas Republicans, like Scott said, have been talking about for years and enact them, put them out there, and Trump can get credit for actually making it a lot better than what they had even before Obamacare.
You know, Scott, of course, all the scuttlebutt this week is cabinet members. And you know, I did a poll yesterday. Over 5,000 people replied to it, and barely, you know, the question was, should Donald Trump include never-Trumpers? Should he include establishment types? Or should he consider those traitors and never bring them in? Or should he just look for talent as talent? And I tell you, it was closer than the election, put it that way. Barely did the majority say he should just go for the talented folks, but clearly there are people out there who are very bitter toward those who did not only not help Donald Trump, but went against him. How do you see the cabinet filling out?
Well, first of all, I was the first one to support him, actually. As you know, the pastor, federal senator, was honored to do it. And I just want the best people, regardless of their race, their color, their creed, their beliefs. I want the best and brightest people helping Donald Trump to guide us through and bring us back to helping make America great again and stimulating our economy. Now, I think the biggest and best thing we can do right away, Charles, and tell me what you think, because you're the financial brain, is immediately repatriating all that offshore money, lowering corporate taxes. That offshore money and that repatriation, that can help actually pay for that stimulus, that infrastructure stimulus bill. And the key is to any of these things, as we're talking about right now, you got to prioritize what your needs are, so you don't have those pork projects. Prioritize what our needs are. Is it Flint, Michigan? Yeah, that's a priority.
It's going to be hard to demarbleize the bureaucracy there, but I understand what you mean. You know, when we say shovel ready, you start giving this money to the states, it never goes to what it was intended for. But I agree. Listen, when I interviewed Donald Trump, I said just get rid of the tax thing. Maybe just having a window, though, will create a sense of urgency. But listen, I love the idea of not taxing or punishing companies for being successful abroad. But, David, having said that, is it early, or should Donald Trump even care that some diehard fans who feel like they were with him in the beginning and he stood by him when the establishment and the never-Trumpers tried to bring him down, they're going to be a little disappointed by that. They may be disappointed by keeping even parts of Obamacare.
Yeah, I think they will be, and he's got to be very careful, because some of the quote sounded like maybe I'll amend it, and I think that will send earthquakes through the 50 million people who voted for him. So don't be snookered by Obama. Get rid of the whole thing. Put some of the good elements back in your own version. But start over so he has control over what's in that bill. And then I agree with Scott. Pass the tax bill, cut taxes. That will stimulate growth and make real growth. I wouldn't use the money for a big infrastructure bill. I'd use it to offset the cost and lost revenue from some of the other tax provisions that he has.
Well, I do know that there's going to be some sort of